The concept that resonated with me most from the training was the idea of 100 doors to sustainability. I believed in sustainability for a very long time, and whenever I used to try to engage people to become sustainable or talk about sustainability, a lot of times people would just look at me and say, I don't believe in global warming, and I think that any energy crisis or environmental pollution problems that arise because of my actions will just be solved by future generations with the technology available to them. And a lot of times I would just stare at people with a blank stare, not knowing what to say, feeling that they were just crushing my soul by not just completely casting aside what I believed in so strongly.
I think the concept or tool which most intrigued me was in regards to the methods that you can use to implement a new concept or movement or idea into a company effectively.
I think the 100-door concept was the most intriguing concept or tool that was presented. Typically, we've been associated with culture change in the past years with regards to safety and lean manufacturing, and from those exercises we learned that typically you cannot go out and dictate to an organization, an individual, or a group as to what they will and will not do simply based on what we want to get accomplished. We learned that engagement, getting them to talk, getting them to understand what we're trying to get to and make them feel part of the process, and with that we typically saw a 50% success rate. The 100-door concept was one in which that I had never really given any thought to, but if you hit the hot button, I think the hot button gets the commitment, because that's part of what makes them up and part of what makes their thinking process. So I truly thought that was the most intriguing concept.
I found the concepts about employee engagement really interesting. They're certainly going to help me in working in sustainability and peer engagement, whether it's projects in sustainability or outside of sustainability. I think they'll be very helpful. The idea that everyone uses their own door into sustainability was really pleasant and non-confrontational. I used to think it'd be a lot easier just to build one big door and have Ray tell everybody to get their butts through it. But I realize now that doesn't really work in today's everyone needs to be coddled PC world. When you think about it, the only thing that really needs to be coddled is the environment. Let's face it, all we do is take, and what we return is tainted water full of sewage and chemicals, and throw our cigarettes out the window, and what's left over we put in the big piles and bury in the ground because we don't want to see or smell it. That's why I'm going to focus on recycling. Kept my Tyvek suit from the dumpster dive, and I'm going to reduce my waste wherever I can. At home, we've got our waste down to a half bag of garbage a week. The Tyvek suit also comes in helpful for other things. At the gym, it helps me lose weight, and it helps me reduce my water use because I've got less clothes to wash. Always thinking sustainability.
To me, sustainability it goes hand in hand with efficiency. I think when you begin to look at how do you minimize waste production, it forces you to look at how you can operate your manufacturing processes more efficiently. And so what specifically brought me through my door in sustainability is the idea of how can we use 100% of the raw materials which we purchase and produce zero waste. But if you want to know the real answer, I would tell you that when I think of sustainability, I think that MacGyver really is the embodiment of sustainability. I think that when you look at his ways of kind of using various miscellaneous items, reusing them for the greater good, taking down crime bosses in the greenest fashion that he can, I think he really sets a high standard.
Sustainability to me is to be able to improve the environment for ourselves and our children. We want to make a difference.
The next step to the commitment for sustainability for me, professionally, we're going to drive this program home, and we're going to try and develop what I would consider a premier program, sustainability program within our organization, as well as I'm going to start busting on these people about leaving lights on and do different things like that. We spend a lot of time putting in light sensors so that when they're not in their office, that they go off and people are continually to override them, I'll get them. I'm going to get them when it comes to that. Personally, I'm going to drive this thing through my children and hopefully get them in the right frame of mind so when they grow up they understand sustainability and are helping the environment so that they can make the choices that they want to make as opposed to being forced to make choices they don't want to make based on the fact that we're depleting everything. So those are the next steps that I'm going to take.
We make more junk because, you know, we don't want to drink tap water, so we make the stuff we get it in though, you know, between that and all the Starbucks cups that are floating around probably out in the ocean, you know, it gets pretty ugly, you know. I mean, if we stopped drinking so many mochas and drinking so much water out of water bottles, we'd probably be a lot better off.
So for DMI companies, our commitment is the future. We actually have put sustainability as part of our organization in our vision, our overarching strategic objectives, and our initiatives so that every day we work toward a more sustainable future.
English class, math class, different, actually I think it was English class. Yeah, we did some, I don't know, like farmer in the Dell stuff.
I think that the first step is to stop thinking about sustainability whenever we have a project to do or whenever we want to take on a sustainability endeavor. And we have to just start to integrate it into our way of life. Whenever we make a decision, whether in the office or even at home, we just have to think, what's the most sustainable option? And I'd also like to make the commitment to stop putting my coworkers' things in Jell-O. I looked up the carbon footprint of Jell-O the other day and it was just really bad news. So I think I'm gonna stop with those shenanigans.
See, isn't this better?